just had the most amazing experience talking with a finch. I'm not small, you're not small. I kept hearing that. And this finch, I'm not kidding you, I was probably, or I'm not exaggerating, I should say, I would say somewhere between 5 and 10 minutes. I think closer to 10, given the time. Yeah. Somewhere between 5 and 10, I'm going to say. Becomes immaterial, actually, when you think about a finch. And it sat there the whole time. So it kept saying, I'm not small, you're not small. And I would look away, and then I would look back at the finch and get the same thing, but I didn't want to stare too long because I didn't want to scare it away, because I didn't want to, I felt like I needed to follow some kind of pattern in order to keep engaged with it. Does that make sense? And so I would look at it for a few, 5 seconds or so, hear that and look away. And then it changed into stay. I'm trying to think of how it came across exactly. I was more focused on I'm not small, you're not small. Oh, and there's no such thing as small. That's exactly right. Yes, that was important. There's no such thing as small. So then it also came or said, or the bird communicated something. Again, I don't know how to tell you. I'm looking and here's what I'm hearing. And it said, stay your true nature and path, and everything will be fine. Or everything will be fine. I think that's how it actually almost was. Everything will be fine. So I sat and thought about that for a bit, and it's interesting. It's not, nature doesn't override itself. Nature doesn't know about time. And the animals don't know about time. They know about existence. And we get the opportunity to know about time, and therefore get managed by it. So anyway, they really don't know time or space. They know their existence, which the best I could have ever heard described, it's almost a sphere. It's almost like they don't see beyond what exists because that's not important to them. It makes sense? They see everything as a sphere, and that sphere may change, but it's just that sphere. It's just not, there's nothing beyond, there's nothing more to it. It all exists right then and then, and that's it. There's no other thought about something further ahead. I've always said, if you laid 3 of Mac's favorite foods lay on a plate, and I'm sure Bubbles would have been the same. They would go after what's the most tasty. They would not put thought into, oh, I'd like to have that last, or I like that. That's not in their. It's not in their makeup. They have choices, yeah, but they're not going to override their nature, which is there is no time. Does that make sense? So that's why, to me, being able to sit quietly in nature and have an interaction like that, it was very interesting. It was very, very interesting. So the idea of sticking to the path and nature, everything will be okay. Well, again, from a human perspective, that means you can't lie to yourself, lie to anybody. You got to be sober, naked, sober, and content, right? So I said, you got to be happy being naked, because you got to be happy being exactly doing what you are, and that is what it is. You've got to be sober. It doesn't. It's everything here is a trap, and the illusion is that trying to numb the reality only takes you further into the trap, which provides these temporary reliefs, but it does not, that these habits, no matter what they are, whether it's addicted to TV, drugs, sex, alcohol, it doesn't make any difference. Material things, whatever it is that you're addicted to from this 3D reality, that's a shackle. So that bird sat there quietly on a fence, a finch, with just those two knowings. And it was interesting because and it could have just been the lighting, but I would have sworn it was a male, or a female, because I didn't see, and it wasn't a new, it wasn't like it was just born this spring. It looked like it was more of a mature finch, and it definitely looked like a female. But anyway, at the end, I looked and sort of just stared with the bird, or looked near the bird, or just didn't stop not looking for about a couple minutes of whatever time duration. So I sort of stopped that routine of thinking about it, what it said, look away. I wasn't consciously, I don't think, trying not to disturb it, but maybe I was. Anyway, at the end, I had an intention, and I ended up looking directly at the bird for just such the longest time, and it never wavered. I mean, it moved, back and forth, maybe an inch or two. Had sort of not really a slowed down version of head nods and twitches from finches. When you watch birds as much as I do, you notice the difference. And so there was definitely a different behavior in this one. But it was odd that it first appeared to be a female, but at the end I saw some red. So who knows? Who knows? With all that magic, there could have been a blend there. And I mean that with all my heart. So anyway, so that gets back to us of writing ourselves back in. It said, live your true nature, be your true nature, and follow your path. Well, that's exactly what we need to be doing. We need to be living more like these ones, outside of this idea of time. Space, you probably don't want to get rid of it. I mean, put it into context, yes, but certainly time, that's an easier one of the two. To me, it's easier to put in context. See, the simplest way for me to think about it is that you can't really save up time. They haven't figured that one out yet. Does that make sense? There's really no. They make us plan for, and we look back to, but those are memories. That's not time. As we understand it, you should be able to put it in a bottle. Does that make sense? That's how limiting the idea of quote unquote time is. So anyway, I thought that was an absolute awesome way to get this download, knowing that none of us are small at all. There's no such thing as small. if you feel you're small, that's you limiting you. I mean, it's as simple as it gets. There's no magic here. Everything is available. Everything that we need, everything that will keep us in alignment, in congruence with our highest path, things that we are to experience, and maybe the ones that we do experience not quite as severe, or at least with a little bit of a smoother path, as I talk about through the energy. But none of us are small. Today, I purposely, and it's really hard to put this into words, but I tried to really see myself as God, spirit, source, the aspect of me, whatever, directly through the eyes, and to feel sort of that excitement of going to the car wash and washing the car really well, because we're going to have like a couple dry days, and I was really excited about that, but I wanted to see it from God's eyes. Now, I started out that way, and I tried to remind myself a couple of times during the car wash, but it comes in and out. But does that make sense? To truly get this perspective from God's perspective, watching through the lenses of your eyes, doing something human, yet satisfying, yet mindfully, and out of reverence of I get to versus I have to. It was something I looked forward to. I truly did. And then I also looked forward going to the store and getting loaded up on a few things. I didn't have to, but I took the opportunity to. But I needed seeds for the animals. And so I looked forward to and had a great time doing that. It took me a while because I needed to get some cards as well. And so I was mindful. I took the time to read the cards and think about and not just grab. And so, and then there was the drive back. And I was thinking how cool it was that we had this group of us, because where I come back to and from, there's 4 or 5 roundabouts, maybe more. Maybe, there more than that. Anyway, and we got, we either have, there's 3 categories. We got the one category that it's just like an alien concept to them, and I got it. And then we got the ones in the middle who sort of, they navigate that thing pretty well. They do. There's a good bandwidth that they're in, and they do an awesome job. And then we have the maniacs that are just like off the rails. I mean, it's like, and I'm from Golden, so I've always said, putting roundabouts in a redneck town, I mean, you're just asking for all the drivers of trucks to just, try to get things on 2 wheels. It just comes natural being here in Golden. So it's odd that I'm back here, because that's exactly what we would have done in high school, is figure out a way what kind of speed we can carry, what kind of car or truck would be best, to try to, see if you can at least try to get on 2 wheels without flipping it. I don't want to digress about that. But anyway, having an experience through your eyes as God, in source, spirit, whatever you want to call something that's the observer or what it is that we do, that I do. So, anyway, I thought that was an interesting conversation with a finch. That's the first. I'm sure it won't be the last. They've been around a lot, so it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun. But anyway, that's it. Peace.